My deepest gratitude to all Buddhas and Dharma protectors. My deepest gratitude to Master Jun Hong Lu. I've been practicing Guan Yin Chitta Dharma Door for around 3 years, and I'm a member of Guan Yin Chitta Practice Center Pontine Jaya branch. My husband is a doctor and a Christian. My husband suddenly suffered a stroke on the night of May 25th. He was admitted to Same Hospital. He was admitted to Same Hospital under the state of unconsciousness. The doctor immediately performed a CT scan on him, and within 30 minutes of admission, I was told that my husband suffered Pontine hemorrhage, which was bleeding in the center of the brain that was deemed too deep for surgery. As such, a stroke usually results in death. Besides, he was also diagnosed with diabetes and hypertension. At the accident and emergency department of the hospital, the doctor told me to bring my children to see their father for the last time. In cases like this, the survival rate is extremely low, and the patient will be in long-term coma and need to be treated in ICU. I was shocked beyond words to hear such news from a doctor. The doctor asked if I wanted to proceed with the admission at a private or government hospital, as the medical bill is going to be very expensive, since my husband will require long-term ICU care. While waiting for the admission at a private hospital, I stepped out of the hospital, and for the first time, I felt so alone, so lonely and helpless. I only have Guan Yin Bodhisattva with me. I immediately pleaded for Guan Yin Bodhisattva to save my husband and made a vow to be a full-time vegetarian. After the admission, a neurosurgeon came and reviewed my husband's case. What is Pontine hemorrhage? Pontine hemorrhage is the bleeding in the center of the brain, which controls consciousness, breathing, communication between different parts of the brain, and sensations such as hearing, vision, taste, and balancing. The doctor explained clearly that aside from helping my husband to stabilize his diabetes and hypertension level, the current medical standards are not offering much hope in treating Pontine hemorrhage. The bleeding was too deep, and the risk of surgery was too high. Hence, no surgeon would be willing to perform the surgery. The survival rate was so low that no doctors can even provide an estimation. When I asked the doctor if my husband has a 10% chance to survive, he said the survival rate would be lower than 10%. He then told me to research about Pontine hemorrhage online to learn more about it. Will my husband ever regain consciousness? Will he ever recover? Nobody knows, but don't forget the power of Bodhisattva. My daily visits to the hospital was futile. My husband remained in the ICU with tubes plugged into his body to keep him alive. He went into coma. Without a breathing machine, he was not able to breathe on his own. I felt so helpless and desperate, and in such despair that I couldn't stop crying at home every day. My kids are still young, with the youngest only 10 months old. My career was already stressful to begin with, so this additional stress was just too much to bear. I just collapsed emotionally. My mom reached out to Guan Yin Chitta Practice Center for advice. With Guan Yin Chitta Damador PJ team leaders' advice, I've made the following vows. Recite 177 liter houses, become a full-time vegetarian, release 5,000 fishes, share my story when my husband recovers. My deepest gratitude to Guan Yin Chitta PJ Practice Center, head of the team, and its members. With everyone's support, I was able to complete 177 liter houses. My deepest gratitude to Guan Yin Chitta PJ Practice Center's team leader. With her support, I have completed the vow of performing life liberation. In addition to this, I have released 70 turtles and 2 Chinese soft-shell turtles for my husband. My husband remained in a coma for 20 days with no signs of recovery. On the 21st day, following the advice from Guan Yin Chitta PJ Practice Center's team leader, I made another vow to Guan Yin Bodhisattva to recite an additional 630 liter houses and release 5,000 fishes within 12 months. On the same day after I made my vows, my husband regained his consciousness. That day was Father's Day. It was the most meaningful Father's Day for my children and me. My deepest gratitude to Guan Yin Bodhisattva. Weeks later, my husband told me he dreamt about Jesus while he was unconscious. One day when I was sitting beside his hospital bed, he was very excited to share with me that he saw Guan Yin Bodhisattva in his room earlier, looking at him. He knew very well that he wasn't dreaming. Guan Yin Bodhisattva is real and true. I asked if Guan Yin Bodhisattva said anything to him, to which he replied no. At the moment, I thank Guan Yin Bodhisattva for blessing my husband. With Guan Yin Bodhisattva's blessing, I know my husband will recover. 40 days after my husband regained his consciousness, he was discharged from hospital and moved to a private nursing home. His vision, hearing capability, and sensation to pain were affected. He was also experiencing tremors on his hands and weakness on the left side of his body. My deepest gratitude to Guan Yin Bodhisattva for her merciful and compassionate blessings. My husband is recovering very well through physiotherapy. With the help of others, he was able to sit and stand. His memory is intact and he is able to speak. With speech therapy, he is learning how to swallow again. My husband understands the severity of his Pontine hemorrhage and the survival rate of his condition. He is thankful for Guan Yin Bodhisattva's miracle and blessing, which gave him a second lease of life when there was no solution or help from the medical field. He is determined to learn how to recite Buddhist scriptures and focus on performing charitable deeds when he recovers. On July 29th, with the agreement from my husband, as well as support from Guan Yin Chitta Damador PJ Practice Center's leaders and members, I managed to set up an altar at home. My gratitude to Guan Yin Bodhisattva for her blessing. My gratitude to Guan Yin Chitta PJ Practice Center's team leaders for her encouragement, support, and advice. My gratitude to Guan Yin Chitta PJ Practice Center's members for their prayers and their contribution of little houses. If I have said anything inappropriate during my sharing, may the greatly merciful and greatly compassionate Guan Yin Bodhisattva, Dharma protectors, and Master Lu please forgive me. My deepest gratitude to the greatly merciful and greatly compassionate Guan Yin Bodhisattva. My deepest gratitude to all Buddhas and Dharma protectors. My deepest gratitude to Master Jun Hong Lu.